Today we are remembering the glories, the activities, the beautiful pastimes, the character, the love and the sweetness of our beloved Param Gurudev, of our mission, grandfather, spiritual master, the guru of my beloved Gurudev, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Acarya Singha is one of his titles, or Acarya Keshari. Our Gurudev published the biography of his life called Acarya Keshari, the life and teachings of the Lionlike Acarya, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. His own Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, was also called Acarya Singha, the Lionlike Acarya. And Gurudev said, in the same way, I'm serving him in that same line. He said, son of a lion will be like a lion. So we're remembering our beloved Guru Varga, but the quality of their love is that it is very compassionate. Therefore, it takes on a great sense of strength or courage. Because the more you love something, the more courageous you become. So this love makes them very powerful. It's never undue aggression. The energy of their love is there to help those who are themselves lost and suffering and who need strength and courage. And so our acharyas are described like that. Like sometimes we hear even Christ is described to be like a lion, right? Because he is helping those who are lost in this world develop their relationship with God and transcend the material bondage of this world. So therefore it takes great strength. Nayamadma balahinena labhya. You cannot realize the self without spiritual strength. What to speak of realization? How are you going to achieve self-realization? This requires great strength and courage. But ourselves, ekaki amar nahi paye bhal. Alone, we don't have that strength. So therefore, that strength comes from association with those who have this love. Pran ache jar sehetu prachar. Those who have pran is Sanskrit for life force. It talks about the air, the breath in the body, which is actually coming from the spirit. Like little kids say, what makes the sky blue? God. What makes you strong? What's the energy in your body? That's the energy of God. So that pran means that life force, the Brahman, Shakti. Like we say in the Brahma Gayatri, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. I meditate upon that Shakti, or potency of the Lord. I meditate upon that divine energy. Pranache jar, wherever that energy is present. Se hetu, that is the cause of prachar, distribution of this divine love and everyone coming together in this mission of divine love. Then the next verse by Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, he says, Brajabasi Jan Pracharakagan. The associates of Krishna from the transcendental land of Vrindavan, they are the true preachers because they are not going out to gather followers, name, fame, prestige, wealth. They're not going out to accumulate anything in this world. They are there to distribute. They are distributors of this divine love of Vrindavan, of the associates of Braj. Therefore, where is that pran present? Where is that life present? In the Brajabasis, Krishna's eternal associates. Nitya Siddha, eternal associates. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, that love for Krishna is eternal, perfect. Sadhya Kabunai, how are you going to achieve it? It's not possible by your own effort. Shravanadi Sudachitta, by hearing. People say, but this sounds like your own effort. Because it said in the first line, Sadhya Kabuna, you cannot achieve it on your own. And then it says Shravanadi, by hearing. Hearing is something receptive. Right? Oh, I'm going to hear. No. Oh, I'm going to hear. There's a difference. I'm going to hear and become purified and realize myself. How are you the doer when you are hearing? To hear means to receive love and mercy and strength. to take shelter. Otherwise, if you're in this doer mentality, I am hearing. No, what are you doing? You're filtering what I like, what I dislike, what I accept, what I don't accept. How can we develop this mood of receptiveness? This is the mood of Shakti, receiving the desire of the Lord and fulfilling through your energy. So, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai. How are you going to achieve that? Sadhya Kabunai. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said, Sadhya Kabunai. By your efforts, you cannot. That is the property of the eternal associates of Krishna. Shravanadi Sudachitta, by hearing from Vaishnavas, by hearing from sadhus who have this love, then, Shravanadi Sudachitta, hearing. Then when you hear, what can you do? Kirtan eva Krishnasya. You can perform Krishna Kirtan. What is that Kirtan? There are different degrees of Kirtan. Tannama Rupa Charitari Sukirtanano. Sukirtan. There's Sankirtan, there's Sukirtan. Sukirtan means very beautiful Kirtan, like Kalindi sings. Very beautiful Kirtan. Like Kirtan Prabhu, like Tirtha, Vrindavan, Gopa. I've heard Gopa Mataji's been singing more. Sukirtananu. This means Kirtan and Sukirtan. Sukirtan means when you have this love, when you're singing out of joy and love. This is Sukirtanana. What are you singing about? Tanam Rup Charita Adi. Krishna's beautiful names. What kind of names? Chatanurago, where your attraction is. Druta Chitta Uchai, that's melting your heart. Those names. Like Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribo. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Haribo. Those names, it said Svanama Kirtya. Jatanuraga Druta Chitta Uchai. When you're chanting and it begins to melt your heart, then this is Sukirtananu. So we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. How many melodies? All the melodies. Every melody is a mood, an expression of the heart, different flavor of love. So many melodies. People think and ask, so many melodies, why not just one melody? No. How many melodies? So many melodies. It's like counting the stars in the sky. Why? The soul has so much potential to express its love for Krishna. So every melody, Svanama Kirtya, chanting the dear names of Krishna. Then after Mahamantra, so many names, Swapriya Nama Kirtya, Swapriya Nam, those names which are especially dear to you, which means, what are the names especially dear to you? Each jiva, each living entity will have a relationship with Krishna unique to themselves, right? So in Priya Nama Kirtan means those names are especially dear to you according to your relationship. So therefore Krishna has many names. Therefore someone was asking me 2 times actually this trip. Once in Hilo, once in Honolulu. Oh, how do we understand? There's different religions, different cultures, which God is right? To say every God, if he's bona fide representation, but according to our culture, our relationship, we'll express our love and try to realize the absolute truth. But Krishna is the all-attractive source. Nama Rupa Guna. Then Krishna's beautiful form, qualities, and activities. So this is Kirtan. But when you hear Shravanadi, then Kirtan becomes natural. Why? Because Shrindvatam Svakrita Krishna. By hearing about Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya, this is very purifying. Hridyantasto hiya badrani. All of the obstacles that are within the heart, that are holding you back in your spiritual progress, are eradicated. Vidunoti suhrit satam. This is therefore supremely auspicious. So when that process is followed, then taste and chanting will develop. But we must hear Harikatha. Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavata matkata shravanado vai shraddha yavan jayate. When faith awakens in the process of hearing about Sri Krishna from Vaishnavas, then naturally we'll be able to give up the attachment to fruitive activities, karma. If there's no taste for hearing Harikatha, attachment to the activities in this world which make us feel, oh, I am doing this, I am the doer, karma, then we remain bound to the cycle of samsara. I want to do. I am doing everything. I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. I will work. But the mood of I will serve, think of it, it's even the word, the sound of the word, I will work. I will serve. So soft, right? Such a sweet mood. Then you can do the same activity. But with the proper mood, it becomes transcendentalized, spiritualized. I will serve. When you work, you want a result. When you serve, it's out of love. The only reward is love and service. Therefore, the reward is infinite because you purchase Krishna himself. Advaita Acharya, when he was calling to Krishna in our previous recording, we spoke about Sri Advaita Acharya's advent. And there's a beautiful verse that says, simply by offering some tulsi leaves and a few drops of Ganga water, the Lord becomes purchased by the loving offering. He said, you've purchased me. Why? When you don't want anything, you only want to love and to serve. He says, what can I give you in return? I don't want anything from you. I just want to serve you and love you. This is what happens when Krishna asked the gopis, oh gopis, what can I give you for your spotless love? You've given up all social ties, all shame, all concerns about what people would think about you, and you've simply come to me to serve me, to fulfill to try your best to satisfy me. What can I give you in return? They say, nothing. I just want to serve you and love you. What can I give you? Take something, take. No. You can't cheat me like that. So he says, okay, I'll just give you myself. For those, therefore, Krishna is called Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. Gochara means to be obtainable, like something you can grasp. And it means through the senses. Because God is so far beyond us, how can we perceive? Right? Where is he? Where is he here? Is he here? Is he here? We're looking. But that personality who is adoksaj, beyond the realm of the senses, the material senses cannot perceive that. Achyuta, he's infallible, beyond our material conception of life. But he is achievable for whom? Akinchan, those who only want him. Nothing else. No kinchana means no other. No anya. Therefore, again and again, the Gita Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam. Those who offer themselves one-pointedly to me, I am theirs. So we chant the Maha Mantra, you are mine. But chanting and reality is it is true. God is our property. But like you were asking, what is the difference between the present condition and the potential condition? We have the potential for that service to Krishna, relation with Krishna, and at every moment. But what is our condition at this moment, and what can it be? Oh, you are mine. He says, yes, I am yours, but this is yours, this is yours, this is yours. Everything is yours. Everything you come in contact like a kid. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And you try to take the toy car away from my car. So Krishna says, I am yours, but like what? Like a toy car, I'm yours? No. We say, oh, Tameva Mata, Tameva Bandhu, Tameva Pita, Tameva Saka, Tameva Mama Deva Deva. You are mine, you are mine, you are mine. I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. Tvamakinchana Gocharam. Those Janmaishvarya Shruta Shribir, who are intoxicated by the wealth of aristocracy, high birth, prestige, beauty, education, then how can they approach Krishna unless they forsake those attachments? Then Tvamakinchana Gocharam. So we are meditating on those beloved associates of the Lord. We chant their names also. And then this process, this receptive process of bhakti, Bhaktistu bhagavad bhakta sangena parijayate. Bhakti comes from the heart of the bhakta. Sangena, by their association. Parijayate, it awakens. Satsanga prapyati pumbi sukriti purva sanchitai. That good association comes from the accumulation of spiritual merits, giving in charity, serving sadhus by good fortune. Then we come into their association, then we can progress. So therefore, again and again, sadhu sangha sarva sastri koi, lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Then we can understand this verse. Nitya siddha Krishna prem sadhya kabunai. By our own efforts, then we can give up the false ego of the doer mentality that Krishna says, prakrite kriya manai nai. Hankara vimudatma, the person engrossed in the false conception of life, false ego, thinks I am the doer of everything. Really, everything is being performed by our Guru Varga and by Krishna himself through his agents. So then we can receive his flood of mercy. Gurudev said, my mercy is flowing like a river. How do you access that? You dive into the river. How do you dive into the river? Vrindavan will know this one. Tell me. Saranagati, surrender. It's the answer to all our worries and all our woes. Gurudev said all problems can be solved when we surrender our heart, our mind, our soul into that yajna, sacrifice of divine love. Prem yajna. So now we're remembering our beloved Param Gurudev, whose life is the pinnacle of a Guru Seva. Service to our divine masters. For one who is real Guru Sevak, all the wealth of the heart of Guru comes to them. Why? Because they don't want anything from Guru. They don't take anything from Guru. They only offer themselves. Then they receive everything. Just like when the gopi said, Krishna, I don't need anything from you. I only want you. Don't give me your things. Give me you. Right? Krishna may say, oh, take my rings, take my necklace, take my pitambar, take my flute. No, I want you. If you get Krishna, you get everything associated with Krishna. If you don't get Krishna, if you only take the things associated with him, then how are you going to get Krishna? Those who are Krishna's devotees, they value and cherish anything associated with Krishna. They serve it with their very life, like Mother Yashoda, protecting the milk that boiled over. Why? It's related to Krishna. But because of her attachment to Krishna, anukulena Krishna anusilanam, therefore she has so much love. So Param Gurudev is a beautiful example of this mood of Guru Seva. He offered his very life for the service of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, never for a moment thinking anything will be his. Only seva, seva, seva. When he came to Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he was a little boy. He came with his aunties. They were the first two lady disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. First. And they brought their nephew. He was a young man, not even an adult at that point, right? Maybe 16, 17. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was sitting in Mayapur. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he chanted 1 billion names of Krishna. He took a vow. 1 billion. And it took him about 8-9 years. He chanted 300,000 a day. He would bathe in the Ganga in one outfit, one cloth, just simple. Uttariya, this sannyas cloth, lower cloth, or at that time he didn't even have sannyas yet. He would let it dry on his body. Once a day he would cook some spinach leaves or whatever he found in the jungle, maybe a little rice. Day and night he was doing bhajan, chanting, and 2-3 hours chanting mantras also, meditating on the mantras. And after this, Mahaprabhu, the Panchatattva, and also his Guru Varga all appeared. At that time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Kokshadas Babaji Maharaj, they were just about to depart. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had already departed, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. They all appeared in a vision. They said, now you must fulfill the prophecy of your father. No, the prophecy of Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also dedicated his life to fulfilling the desire of Mahaprabhu, which was that this should be spread and broadcast everywhere, not just in India or Bengal or Navadvip. This is not a sectarian cult religion. This is Sanatan Dharma in its purest expression. He said it must go everywhere. Every town and village and city must be broadcast. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, how will I do this, Lord? Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas, Advaita Acharya, the six Goswamis, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You imagine, oh, Vrindavan, you have to do this. How am I going to do it? He said, don't worry, I will send. I will send. Okay? I will send my associates. So we see very shortly after that, one by one, they began to come. Paramananda Prabhu, Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu, Param Gurudev, Shri Binod Bihari, one by one. When Binod Bihari came with his aunties, they were sitting, and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was sitting on a chair, very peacefully chanting. And they offered their obeisance. At that time, there was only 4 or 5 devotees. He had a little kutir, a little thatched hut, and they had beautiful little deities of Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu. And they would do arti, and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada himself would ring the bell and sing, and Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu would do arti. And then afterwards he sat and gave them darshan. He said, I'm going to establish a temple in every island of Navadvip, 9 temples, and then all over India, and in the world. And these ladies were very, very scholarly. They were great poets. And very humbly they said, oh, Guru Maharaj, we see here there's not even enough devotees to ring the bell. You're ringing the bell. How will this be possible? And he said, your nephew, this boy, Vinod, he will do everything. Vinod. Why? Guru Varga is transcendental. They can see, they have transcendental vision, a prakrita drishti. Oh, this boy. And so therefore, very shortly after that, he joined the temple, took Harinam Diksha, and he began to serve. Very quickly, he took all responsibility on his shoulders. This is called Guru Seva. Wherever there's need, this is not a question of burden, this is a question of glory. The glory of responsibility in the service of Guru and Vaishnav. We see in our line, there's always these sevaks who take responsibility for the service of the Guru Varga and themselves are so glorious. Gurudev says in this book like 10 times, for this activity, his name will be written in golden letters in the histories of the world. Like 10 times in this book. Gurudev, with great love for his spiritual father, he's saying like this. And you read about his activities and you think, wow, how amazing. With what courage he acted against so much difficulty. We see the indications of this from his childhood. When he was a little boy, his name was Jyotsna, right? Like the golden moon. It was very fair and beautiful. Very beautiful. Very soft. Jyotsna, they called him a moon boy. Imagine your name was Full Moon Boy. Oh, full moon. Like Vrindavan Prabhu. Smiles, full moon. Very fair, very beautiful. Kirtan, right? Tirtha. Fulgent. Especially after a good shave. But anyone who's doing Guru Seva, they become powerful, fulgent. So he was called Jyotsna. As a little boy, one time, he was very interested from his childhood in service. So Gurudev tells the story that he collected these notes from his aunts and his parents, and he later compiled this book and wrote this book. When he was a little boy still, just in maybe middle school, he wasn't so old, maybe, not so old, maybe 10, 11, 12, something like that. He must have been quite young because he came home late in the evening and his mother was outside with a stick. It's very late, maybe 10, 11 p.m. And she was thinking, oh, he's getting to that age now, right? Probably preteen. Who knows what's going on in the villages in Bengal. Maybe they're going to the theater. Right? Prabhupada tells one story of how his brother or someone convinced him, one time they took him to the theater, see a paisa kind of show, like a simple village theater, His mother and father, hey, Nonsense. What are you doing? It's a bad culture. He said, that was the only time ever in my life. He said, it's from a very strong Brahmin family. He said, 7 lifetimes no one in my family has taken garlic even. 7 lifetimes. It's very strict. So Padam Gurudev, his mother was standing outside. Why were you out so late? I've been waiting for you for hours now. And he accepted her chastisement very humbly, didn't say anything, very humbly received chastisement. Tell me, explain yourself. Finally, she said, explain yourself. He said, dear mother, every day you give me some allowance for school lunch, and we try to use as little as possible. Or we just bring something from home, and myself with a group of my friends, we save all our lunch money, and we go and we arranged we created a committee to help those who are very sick, poor, and diseased, even those who have contagious diseases. And they were using all their money to help these people because poor people, not generally loved or wanted so much. You take them to the hospital even, they think, oh, it's like a burden. So they would take care of people. He said there was the one lady at that time, she had very bad sickness. Let's see if we can find exactly the details. Childhood. There's a proverb, coming events cast their shadows before them. So there's a beautiful, I'll tell you the story here. Her name was Bhuvana Mohini Devi. She was the daughter of land barons. So they were from an aristocratic family, landowners. And she was very strict. As soon as Vinod entered the house, she grabbed his hand and angrily demanded, where have you been? Tell me. You are becoming independent, wandering around here and there at night in the company of street children. I do not want this. Where were you? Speak up. The boy stood calm and silent, completely without fear. When his mother again demanded an answer, he replied in a serene voice, some of us students have established a charitable organization that serves the destitute, helpless, poor, and sick in a variety of ways. You give me money for snacks, and I use it to help these people. We also go from house to house begging food and clothing for them. Today, I thought it was cholera. I just wanted to check. Today, a destitute, childless woman was suffering from cholera. After collecting money, we arranged for her to get medical treatment and a good diet. I've spent the whole day up until now doing this, and I haven't even bathed or eaten. Now this old woman is beginning to recover. That is what I've been doing the whole day. As soon as his mother heard this, the stick fell from her hands and her eyes filled with tears. Unable to utter a word, she embraced her son with both arms and promised that in the future she would never again try to discipline him. What mother would not feel herself successful to have given birth to such a child? In the future, that same boy, seeing the living entities caught in the grip of Maya, would accept sannyas and make a promise to free the jivas from that bondage forever. So this is his childhood. So even as a boy, he was taking responsibility. Gurudev says that later on, he made a group of fellow boys, and he said, we will take a vow to be lifelong brahmacharis or monks so that we can direct all our attention and all our energy to the service of God. What is the service of God? People think service of God, service of God. Service of God is serving his will, which is helping people who are suffering. And of all the forms of help, we see in his life how he was trying to help in different ways. But when he met Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, it became clear that the best form of humanitarian work is to help save one jiva, one living entity at least, from the burning suffering in the cycle of samsara, birth and death. And however many you can help, that is the best use of our life and activities. And in the course of that, he opened a medicinal charity center, medical depot, school education for the poor, giving clothing, but spiritual education, and also spiritual affection and love and support. Without that, how are you going to really help people? Otherwise, even education, what are you going to do after that? You can go to school and get education, but where's your family? If you're suffering, how is that going to help you? You can say, oh, you're teaching me, but yet I'm suffering in this world without any shelter. Will you give me shelter? That's why they open temples, monasteries, ashrams. Because we can say, take the knowledge and go, go, go. Leave me alone. But to give shelter, to give actual spiritual home and support, how valuable is that? So Param Gurudev, he offered his life in that service. Once he received darshan of Srila Gorakshadass Babaji Maharaj. Gorakshadass Babaji Maharaj was such a saint itself, to tell his story would take a long time, days. But he was such a one-pointed, dedicated devotee, always absorbed in Radha Krishna's pastimes and their service therein. So Param Gurudev was sent for his darshan, his blessings. Gorakshadass Babaji Maharaj had locked himself in a latrine, a public latrine. So he was this sadhu, a saintly person, who he went to the village of Navadvip and he locked himself in the latrine. He was there for a few weeks. Public latrine, so he just took a stall over. Right? You think that's a... Yeah, he squatted. So this one's mine. I'm using it for the few weeks. I'm a wandering beggar mendicant. And he went to an area where it wasn't such frequented. That means there was an empty stall and the other stalls could be used. It would be enough. He didn't want to take someone else's space also. He wouldn't come out. People would try to come. Even the town municipality and the leaders, the ministers, they tried to get him because they knew he was a very great saintly person. He said, I don't have time. He said, I'm very sick and I cannot come out. They would try to get him to eat or something. He would just fast and chant Hare Krishna, day and night, day and night. He wouldn't come out for anyone. People would ask, why don't you come out? He said, the stench of your material association is worse than the stench in this latrine. Said, I prefer the latrine. He said, here I can one-pointedly focus on Krishna. Please come out, he said. They said, we will build you a beautiful ashram, a beautiful temple. He said, do you think I want a temple? I am very happy in this latrine thinking about Krishna. So finally, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada sent, not for this reason, but just to get his darshan and blessings. He sent Vinod, Param Gurudev. And Vinod went there and knocked on the door. He said, who's there? I keep telling you to leave me alone. I'm trying to do my bhajan. He said, oh, we're fallen, but we are disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada. Immediately he opened the door, embraced them and gave so much blessing. He said, oh my, what Barsha Bhanavi Devi Dhaita Das. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada had the name given by his guru, Barsha Bhanavi, which means Shrimati Radhika, the daughter of Vrishabhanu. Devi, that goddess, Dhaita, her beloved, Krishna, Das, servant. Barsha Bhanavi Devi Dhaita Das. He said, oh, you are his follower, and immediately came out and gave him so much love and blessings. He said, in your life, you'll never have any obstacle. He said, you'll have to do so much for the service of your guru, but you'll never have any obstacle in your life. I'm removing all those obstacles. Blessing. At that time, he was very aged, very old. And all the power. He would perform fast. He would stay in the Ganga all the way up to his head for days. And then he would put a basket with sand on his head. People say, why are you putting the basket of sand on your head? He said, because if I'm up to my neck, then Maya can't touch me. I'm in the Ganga. Ganga is transcendental. But what about my head? I can't breathe underwater. So he said, I'll put Ganga sand with water in it on my head and I'll add water to keep it wet. He said, then my head will also stay purified. Otherwise, who knows what's going to happen? This world is very dangerous. Maya is on all sides. Maya, Maya, Maya. So Param Gurudev received his blessings. He joined the Mutt, and very quickly he helped maintain the whole mission. Very quickly they started opening centers, and he would maintain everything. He was the manager for the whole mission, right? But we don't have so much time, but it's very sweet. In Vaishnav culture, what does it mean to be manager? Manager isn't some big position and title and post. Manager means with love, taking all responsibility, then naturally everyone shares love for you and respects you. Why? They see, oh, look how much they're doing. He was doing everything. So many details. At that time when they're first starting, there were so many problems. Why? Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was like a revolutionary. establishing, destroying casteism, all these different smartism, everything that was limiting the real growth of everyone as an opportunity to come into this movement, eradicating all this. And where is real Mayapur, the glories of Mahaprabhu? And everyone was opposing him. Param Gurudev would have to do court cases. He was always managing, going here and there. They had land and people weren't giving any donation for their stay or any rent, and he would sort this out. He was constantly busy, day to night. Sometimes he would leave in the morning, come back late at night. But he alone, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, would always let him stay in his room even. Why? He would just sleep on the floor, like his own son. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada would call him Tui, which is Bengali or Hindi for a very intimate form of address. There's 3 kinds of address. Aap means like, dear sir, very respectful. And you'll say this generally with people in general, because it's good to be respectful. And then you can say tum for like a child or your friend, or tui is very intimate. It means like your own son or your own husband or wife, someone like the most intimate form of address. There's no formality there. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada would always offer obeisance to each of his followers and disciples. If someone would come and obeisance to him, he would offer obeisances back, and he would say, I'm your servant, dasoham. I'm your servant, dasosmi. I'm your servant to everyone. He said, you are my great friends and helpers. You are not my disciples. You are my great friends and helpers. And he would say, dasoham. So Param Gurudev would never offer pranam to him. He would always do it from back or from behind when he wouldn't look. He would never do it in front, because then his guru would also offer obeisance. So they had such a sweet friendship. There's so many stories. One time he was in a court case, right? And the judge was saying, oh, my whole life I've been doing this kind of work. I wish I could just meditate on God and Krishna. And Param Gurudev said, for me, court cases are also bhakti. He said, Radharani once did a court case against Krishna. And Lalita was the prosecutor. Right? Lalita here, very strong. She's always defending Radharani and prosecuting Krishna. He said, in that, Srimati Radhika was victorious, and Krishna was lifelong, eternal incarceration. What is that? Into the service of Srimati Radhika, community service. Krishna had to perform community service to the groves of Vrindavan, to Radharani, and he had to sign that I am the eternal servant of Srimati Radharani. So Lalita Devi prosecuted Krishna and won, and therefore Krishna is eternally bound into the service of Srimati Radhika. Then he becomes Radha Damodar. Damodar means bound. So he is Radha Damodar, that means he is bound by the love of Srimati Radhika. So Param Gurudev said, this is bhakti. Anything you're doing for the service of Guru, Param Gurudev would ride beautiful horses, like Gurudev also would ride a horse. Param Gurudev would dress like a beautiful gentleman. He arranged that the governor of Bengal at that time, Sir John Anderson, British governor, he came to visit Mayapur by the arrangement of Param Gurudev. And you see a picture of Param Gurudev dressed in this beautiful black suit, the beautiful black turban. I don't know, I mean, it's black and white. So I don't know if it was really black, but it looks black. It's a little bit big. No, see, because everyone's in white, you can see he's dressed like beautiful black suit. And here you go. Yeah, it's definitely black.
It's not really a Western suit.
It's very, well, he's wearing pants and a coat and like a gold chain. And he's got a really pretty turban. And he's got a white collar. So it definitely looks, yeah. And you can see the governor's in more of like a gray outfit, perhaps. You see? Right? So he brought the governor, and you can see him. One time, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was attacked. All right, we'll have to carry this on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. You're giving class Friday. Okay, so tomorrow we'll keep hearing more stories of Param Gurudev. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was attacked. They were with 15,000 pilgrims, and they were going through a narrow alley in Bengal, in Navadvip, Mayapur. That time, Prodamaya, this is in Navadvip, in Koladvip, that island. And from all sides, they were ambushed. There's people behind, there's little raised areas, and people were throwing bottles, with glass and bricks and rocks, and they wanted to kill Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Why? Mostly it was the Babajis, some of them, and Smartas and their followers. Smartas were the ones who, they say, only if you're born as a Brahmin can you worship Krishna and receive mantra diksha. And the Babajis saying, oh, these Gaudiyas, they are against the proper understanding. They're not supporting at all the mood of Nam Sankirtan, loudly chanting the holy names, and this missionary expansion of Mahaprabhu's, not properly understanding the desire and the mood of Mahaprabhu, so they opposed. And everyone was running for their life. You can imagine, you're in the middle of a party and you're kind of like in a small confined area and there's like thousands and thousands of you. For those who've been on Navadvip Parikrama, or if you haven't, you can imagine like 15,000 people at a big, long procession. But they had all gathered together because in that area they worship this deity of Yogamaya or Prodamaya. And it was like a rainstorm of bricks and bottles and stones were coming down. Everyone was becoming injured and there was mass chaos and everyone was just running helter-skelter. But immediately, Padam Gurudev, the first thought that entered his mind is, where's my Guru Maharaj? Everyone else was just running in the chaos. But he immediately went and found his Guru Maharaj and used his body to protect him and then ushered him into, he knew a house because he was very smart and intelligent. He knew everything everywhere. This area in particular was very against Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Later on, he established his temple right there. At Devananda Gaudiya Math, right in that area. He said, I will establish my temple right in that area where there's the most opposition. So he protected his Gurudev and then he took him into a house that was favorable. Simple, very simple house. And immediately took inside and said, Guru Maharaj, he was wearing white cloth. He took off his shirt, his lower garment, and he said, please, you put this on. And he put on his Guru Maharaj's saffron cloth. Imagine how much affection, relation. Very quickly exchanged. And then he sent him with that family through a secret back way, back to Mayapur, across the Ganga. And then he went back out. He said, here I am. Because they looked very similar. Just like Radharani, Rupa Manjari look very similar. Different gopis look very similar. Why? They're completely one at heart, tadatmik. One at heart with the desire of their beloved. And so he looked very similar. And he was also very youthful and effulgent. And so, oh, there he is. There he is. Get him. They're throwing rocks and stones, but he was fearless. And after some time, this abated. And how long can this go on, right? People try and try and try, but without the will of God, all these things, what do they serve to do? Only to glorify more Krishna's dear devotees. Sometimes they ask, why do all these things happen? Like Prahlad Maharaj, again and again, he's opposed, attacked. He said, why does it happen? Only Krishna arranges for the glorification of his devotees, right? So these are just attached to the glories of Padam Gurudev. Actually, we haven't even begun, but we'll continue tomorrow. We remember our Padam Gurudev. He's so very beautiful, so effulgent, so glorious. One time he was building a temple and there were 3 steps up to the deities. 3 steps. See, 1 step, 2nd step, 3rd step. And he was giving details about how to arrange the colors of the step. Right? It was gold and yellow, blue, and then the 3rd one he described. Right? Very beautiful pinkish color. And as he described this, immediately someone asked him, oh, Guru Maharaj, please describe the symbology of these colors. And he began to describe, oh, this is the beautiful, effulgent complexion of Shri Radha, Srimati Radhika, Rishabhanu Nandini, Shri Radharani, golden complexion. And then blue, Sham Varna, Shama Sundara, this beautiful Sham, like a bluish rain cloud. And then he started, but he could not finish. He began to describe that last step as his own cloth, his own color of his own spiritual form's cloth. And he became overcome by the ecstatic symptoms of love. He could not continue. And so our Gurudev would describe, he was so strong and stoic. We'll hear about his activities. They're atimartya, transcendental, supramundane. So many astonishing pastimes we'll hear tomorrow. But he had so much love. Later on, when he was in Mathura, Keshari Gaudiya Math with Gurudev was describing the pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna to the grinding mortar from the writings of Srila Jiva Goswami Gopal Champu. And as Gurudev was describing this, and as he described how the twin Arjuna trees fell and Mother Yashoda became stunned, and later on Krishna came back and he wasn't going to see Mother Yashoda. And finally Rohini said, what if Mother Yashoda leaves or passes away because she cannot meet with you? And then Krishna ran and embraced Mother Yashoda, and then she began to weep with so much sadness and lamentation. And then hearing this, Padma Gurudev began to again roll in ecstasy and weep, and hair standing on end and voice choked up, and he even fell off his bed at that time. And for 1-2 hours, he was experiencing this ecstatic symptoms of love. So our Gurudev would describe how even though his Guru Maharaj was so grave, generally we see their Guru Varga, they're so grave. They're so, because they have to have that potency, that mood of Lord Nityananda, the Shakti of that Baladev Shakti. But in their heart, they're serving that most intimate service of Srimati Radharani, our Param Gurudev, as Vinod Manjari. So his heart is soft like butter. Soft like butter. And so it cannot tolerate Jugala Milan Sukhara Karan Jivana Charite Pari. For the sake of the union of Shri Radha and Krishna, he's willing to give up his life. So they have so much love. That love is the source of their strength. That love is the source of their power. That is why they are Acharya Keshari. That prem, or that divine love, that is strength. Other kinds of strength is only material because it's based on your false ego and your desire for honor and prestige or name and fame or position or to achieve something. This doer mentality, that power is very small. How much can you do alone? In Jaiva Dharma, it's said by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the eternal nature of the soul, in this book, it said that when the finite living entity develops love for the supreme entity, then their energy and their capacity becomes infinite. So how powerful is that love? It's unparalleled. And therefore, we are ourselves, Brajabasigan, serving those associates of Radha Krishna, like our Param Gurudev. Ekakiya Amar, without their mercy alone, we have no strength. So praying to them again and again, it's said that the grandfather is so much more merciful even than the father. Father will sometimes chastise, and that's also needed. But grandfather, when the father chastises, afterwards the grandfather will caress and console and give some sweets and say, don't worry.